Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Blankenbaker Station Business Park. My name's John Hollenbach, and on behalf of my partner Greg Oakley and all of the Hollenbach-Oakely team, I want to welcome you to our development. We're sorry we can't be with you today, but we're incredibly excited to be hosting an opportunity to celebrate Earth Day with Mayor Fisher. Mayor Fisher is in the process of creating a 25-year vision plan for Louisville. As part of this vision plan, I've often heard of him speak of environmental sustainability and also talk to quality of place. I think what we've tried to create at Blankenbaker Station is a sense of quality of place. If you look at the components of the park that are not only environmentally friendly, but really friendly to employers and employees alike, with bike lanes down a median divided parkway, underground utilities, walking trails, and water features, this quality of place helps set a standard for what you all are enjoying today, which is really quality of space. With the vision we had for Blankenbaker Station being shared by companies like Harshaw, Trane, Eaton Corporation, Kelly Construction, Shara, and many others, we've really created a formula that allows for this type of LEED certification to occur. We're very proud of our development. We're very proud of the people and tenants within the park, and we hope to continue to create the kind of environment that people want to live and work in for quite some time to come. On behalf of all the tenants in Blankenbaker Station Business Park, I want to thank you all for coming out today to attend this Earth Day celebration. I want to congratulate Harshaw Trane for LEED Silver certification from the USGBC, and I want to congratulate all the tenants who have achieved LEED certification within our development. Have a great Earth Day celebration. And hopefully when you come back next year, we'll have a few more that we can claim as LEED certified.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is Cliff Ashburner. I'm the immediate past chair of the U.S. Green Building Council's Kentucky chapter. And it's my pleasure and honor really to welcome you today to Harshaw Trane. I'd like to start by recognizing our elected officials. Of course, we have Mayor Fisher here with us, Councilman Stuart Benson, Representative Riggs, there you are. And I would like to thank them for their efforts. I know Councilman Benson's had quite a bit of interest in this park all the way back from the beginning. So I'd like to first bring up Mayor Fisher to make some remarks. As you all know, Mayor Fisher's taken a very keen interest in sustainability. John mentioned the Vision Louisville process, which is just getting underway and could really be a major impact in our city. Mayor Fisher also created the Office of Sustainability, and its director, Maria Cutter, is out in the audience. Maria is a friend of mine, so I like to always point her out. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and bring up Mayor Fisher.
All right, well, good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be with you, especially here at Harshaw Trane. You all have one of the great citizens in the community with Frank over here, who I see working and helping so many different people in the community with his wife, Paula. So, Frank, thank you very much for all the good things that you do that I assume this operation here helps you to do. It's a great platform for doing good, so thank you very, very much.
And Paula.
And Paula, of course, she probably does everything. That's right. So, Paula, thank you even more. Okay. Well, it's great to be here on Earth Day, and it comes around once a year, and we were getting a question asked quite a bit the other day, what is Earth Day? So if you all don't mind, I'm going to walk us back a little bit in time. How long has Earth Day been going on? This sounds like a class here. What, has it been 20 years? 1970. Okay, you get an A. Right. 43 years. First, and it was a grassroots effort to increase environmental awareness. What state was the senator from who created Earth Day? You can't answer that. Okay. Anybody know? It was the Wisconsin Senator Gaylord Nelson, who in September 1969 first proposed a national teach-in on the environment, and that eventually became Earth Day. He wanted to send a message to Washington that public opinion was solidly behind a bold political agenda on environmental issues. So you can think back to 1969, what was going on in the country then, and the environment was not at the top of everybody's mind. So this is one of these deals where we've come a long way in 43 years, but we still have a long way to go. And as each year passes, it seems like there's more and more awareness of what's going on in terms of the environment. I just returned from Asia about 3 weeks ago, and I spent the last part of the trip in China, and China's growing like crazy, as everybody knows, and some of their environmental challenges over there are very intense when it comes to air quality and water quality. So while they have some extraordinarily progressive projects going on with the environment, just the day-to-day volume, on the other hand, is a real challenge for them. I mean, you can see the air in some of their cities, in Beijing and Shanghai, especially Beijing, and when you can see the air, that's not a good thing. So they're working on that, I hope, and very diligently. So certainly here in the United States, we're front and center. Europe obviously is as well. This is one of those things that when you're from a more developed country or continent that you start thinking about. There's been a lot of celebrations across the city to mark Earth Day. Yesterday at the zoo, we gave some Trashformation awards out to students that were recycling trash and turning it into art. And you can really see generational differences in the approach to the environment, where the younger kids are just automatically thinking, reuse, recycle, and take care of the environment. So we need to do our work, but I think we're in good shape when we look to the younger people as well. Now, some of the folks were wondering, why in the heck are we coming out to an office park to celebrate Earth Day today? And as many of you all know, a huge percentage of the energy is used in buildings in this country. I think it's the number one use of energy, as a matter of fact. So we wanted to showcase an office park here in Blankenbaker Station that had the biggest concentration of LEED certified buildings in the Commonwealth, and obviously here in our city. I think everybody knows what LEED stands for, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. So we wanted to say, hey, this is happening on the private side. And it was about 10 years or so ago when you decided to go LEED or you decided to go green, it was going to be, boy, that's going to be another 10 or 15% cost. So a lot of people went the other way. Now that cost delta obviously has narrowed quite a bit, so it's easier. But you guys out here have very much been the leader in terms of our green building practices in the community. The city government also is putting green and sustainability practices at the forefront of what we're doing. John Hollenbach, and they couldn't be here because they're at a funeral today, out of state, just by the way. They have been very active in this area, and he mentioned Vision Louisville. So Vision Louisville is our 25-year planning process for the city. When you hear about that, please get involved. We're just starting phase 2, which is going to be about 100 public meetings talking about what's the vision for our city. And we all know that any great city 25 years from now is going to be a global city, it's going to be a digital city, going to be a healthy city, but it has to be a sustainable city at the same time. And with all the change of the last 10 years, think about what's going to happen over the next 25. So we need everybody's brains in this room to help us vision what this 25-year vision is going to be like. And out of that will be a menu of catalytic projects that we will then invest in, both in the private and public sector in the community, to make sure that we're positioning ourselves to be a great global city 25 years from now. So you all, with your knowledge of sustainability, is very important. Cliff is leading the environmental portion of Vision Louisville, so we're happy to have him and his team on board as well. Maria Cutter is front and center on that. Maria is our Director of Sustainability, as Cliff mentioned as well. Now, one goal in our Sustain Louisville plan, Sustain Louisville is our community-wide plan to be a more sustainable city. It's got 60 initiatives inside of it, and we produced that and published it about 6 weeks ago. One of the goals is that all new city government buildings are LEED certified buildings. We also plan to launch more incentives on green building construction, renovation, and adaptation programs so that we can push people more and more toward green. Last week, Habitat for Humanity was being built as part of the Give a Day week, which was fantastic. Thank anybody that participated in that. Over 100,000 volunteers. It was great. But the Habitat was a LEED certified building. And the students at Manual High School approached the Yum Foundation with the plan to do that. And the Yum Foundation, said, who are these kids and why do they keep pestering us? Well, they wouldn't go away, and Yum founded or invested in this LEED certified habitat as well. So as you all know, it doesn't have to be a fancy office park and multi-million-dollar projects. These can be tens of thousands of dollars of projects as well. So it's happening everywhere. Our government city government, its partners have constructed several LEED buildings already. The Liberty Green Community Building downtown is a great LEED facility. The TARC Bus Maintenance Annex is also LEED, and then our libraries are where we're really leading the path here with the Newburgh and Fairdale branches, and then we're going to be starting on the Southwest Regional Library off Dixie Highway later this year, and that also will be a LEED certified building. So these are things where we should be setting the way as the city to show people as a model on what we can do, and you can expect that from your city government. So as our Sustain Louisville plan points out, making our city sustainable takes everybody working together. We're seeing this especially with our recycling programs. One of the initiatives of this last budget was we wanted to give 2 different routes in the city recycling containers, and this is really silly, but the number one reason why people don't recycle is it's not easy for them to get their recyclables to the curb. And so we provided them with 85-gallon containers, just like the normal garbage containers, and recycling, last time I looked, Maria, was up about 60% on those routes. So just something as simple as providing a new container. However, that's expensive to do for the city, so we're going to keep rolling that out. We'll have 2 more routes this year. They cost $200,000 a route. So what I would suggest, especially that you don't have to be a male to make a romantic gesture to the female in your life. Like myself, I thought, what would my wife want for Valentine's Day if she could get anything? And so we offered at 311, just dial up Metro, call 311, and for $50, you can buy your own orange 85-gallon recycling container. I would suggest that you do that. You put your hands over your wife or your husband's eyes and you say, honey, you won't believe what I have for you. Put that at, and I tell you what, the day gets a lot better from there on. So, but like everything in government, I mean, all this comes down to one thing at a time, and I think we've sold almost 1,000 or so of the orange recycling containers of people just calling up $50 at a time. So don't wait for your route. Buy your recycling container, be green, and celebrate Earth Day. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's good. Next, I'd like to introduce Greg Guess. Greg's a division director at the Kentucky Cabinet for Energy and Environment. He's here to represent Governor Beshear and Secretary Peters, who are both taking part in Earth Day celebrations up in Frankfurt. I believe the morning celebration took place at the Capitol Learning Center, which I highly advise you all to check out. It's right there on the Capitol grounds, and it's got lots of great information and demonstrations about where energy comes from, how it's used, energy efficiency, and the like. So, Greg?
Well, good afternoon. I bring you greetings and congratulations from Governor Steve Beshear and from the Energy and Environment Cabinet Secretary, Dr. Lynn Peters. It's appropriate that we meet here on Earth Day, and this is the 44th observance of Earth Day since the original observance in 1970, as was mentioned earlier. And Harshaw, Trane, and Hollenbach-Oakely are setting an example that we hope we can follow by all businesses across the state. In 2008, Governor Beshear, as you probably know, introduced a 7-point energy strategy, and this was called Intelligent Energy Choices for Kentucky's Future. And the very first strategy of the 7 strategies was to have energy efficiency offset at least 18% of Kentucky's projected 2025 energy demand. Because of the excellent work being done by Harshaw, Trane, and the business park developers like Hollenbach-Oakely, Kentucky is well on the way to meeting that goal. It should be noted that while energy is an important component of the LEED rating, there are 4 other categories that also contribute to the scoring system and to the sustainable nature of these projects. Frank Harshaw and Harshaw Trane are to be congratulated not only for what they have done in concrete and steel here at Blankenbaker Crossing, but also for what they've been doing for years with the Kentucky chapter of the U.S. Green Building Council. I know the press release accompanying this event mentioned that Harshaw Trane, like my agency, was one of the founding members of the Kentucky chapter of the USGBC in 2005. And I'm afraid that I've got to take exception with that statement. In my opinion, Harshaw-Trane was not a founding member. They were the founding member. It was Harshaw-Trane who pulled together the original group that sat down in Harshaw-Trane's offices, and Harshaw-Trane provided snacks, which is one way to get people to come to a meeting. And it was staff like Frank Weiss, Laura Whitus, and others, along with the support and encouragement of Jenny Harshaw and Frank Harshaw, who were instrumental in those early days. In fact, those early days probably lasted 2 or 3 years. I think the Kentucky chapter is important because of the training and support it provides here locally where decisions are made. Former U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Tip O'Neill said all politics is local, and I would say that all sustainability is local. That's where the decisions are made. That's why what we do here today is truly important. If we're going to be good stewards of our resources, if we're going to pass on to future generations a world that is better than the world we found, we're going to have to make decisions like the ones we're recognizing here today. Thank you.
I'd like to echo Greg's comments as somebody who was chair of the board of USGBC for a few years. Trane's partnership meant a lot to us, means a lot to us today. As was mentioned, gave us a few board members and really our push to get started. And we would not be where we are today without your help. So I'd like to thank you and bring up now Frank Harshaw.
Well, the earlier speakers make my job a lot easier because they've covered virtually everything. What else could I cover? But Greg, I do have one piece of advice for you on this recycle container. I think it is, doesn't everybody think that's a great idea? Absolutely. But I have a little further advice for the men in this room. My wife has taught me that any present on a significant day, birthday, Valentine's Day, Christmas, you name the day, you do not give a gift that it ends in ER. You know, like washer, dryer, recycle container. So, everybody, please go get those recycle containers. And by the way, we have ours. We're on one of the routes. So, thanks. So I want to thank everybody for being here today, and also wanted to mention, along with Greg's comments and also John Hollenbach's comments, that I think it was in 2007 that we were looking around for a place to build a building, and so we looked at a number of places, including the Bluegrass Industrial Park, which we were already in, and it was interesting because NTS, for some reason, didn't want to sell any of their property. So we decided to branch out just a little bit. So we hooked up with John and Greg and started talking about this new development that they're getting ready to do, Blankenbaker Station 2. And so we came out, and if you look at that picture, the furthest one on the left there, that was the picture, except it didn't have any yellow on it. It was just a picture of the earth. And they said, we're going to build right here. So they'd already started doing some clearing and et cetera. So I came out with them in a 4-wheel drive. And we came up, and they had laid off the streets, and they had a post in our corner right out here. And they said, we would envision your building being right here because it's at the top of the hill and you get a great view and blah, blah, blah. And so we started our discussions, and we started talking about the Class A business park that they wanted to build. And so we had some ideas on what Class A would mean. And sustainable energy environments was one of them. So John and Greg were very interested in that because they've been in development for quite a while, and they realized that buildings that are more energy efficient, have lower costs of operation, therefore they're easier to get to Class A when that's the case. So we made a pact that we would build 2 buildings here and right next door, and both of those are LEED certified. And we also have Energy Star certification on both buildings. So that's kind of how this whole thing got going, and so we were the first ones to build. I took our management team out in my 4-wheel drive, and we drove up to the stake in the ground, and I said, just imagine this is where our building's going to be. And some of them looked at me like, are you crazy or what? But the way it's turned out, it's been a real boon for us. And our associates have really enjoyed being out here. So, as you can see, we're all about sustainable energy environments. And we are walking the talk by doing the things that we said, by doing the buildings that we built here. So, as a founding member of the Kentucky U.S. Green Buildings Council, we're committed to sustainable building construction and performance. And I want to talk a little bit about what our company has done. And when we started measuring in 2000, we started measuring on our major jobs, well, what is the energy savings that we're creating? So as of now, that our clients have saved more than $113 million in energy savings since 2000 when we started on those projects. And that does not include the myriad of other projects that we don't particularly get involved with saving the energy for them. So the general construction projects that we participate in, we don't count those. So in doing that, and there's a lot of ways to talk about these savings, so we put up some signs over here so you can kind of realize them. If you think about reduction of CO2, what we've saved so far is equivalent to not burning 1,333,000 barrels of oil in a year. It's also, if you think about railroad cars of coal that aren't burned for a year, 2,914. Think of a train that stretches from here almost to Lexington. That would be the coal that wouldn't be burned in a year. Passenger cars not driven for 1 year. That'd be like 125,000 of our citizens parking a car for a year and not driving. Another way to look at it is 73,615 houses could be heated and cooled and operated, lights, etc., in 1 year. And then a final way of looking at it, which a lot of people like to look at this because of forestation is really a big issue worldwide. So we got 4,700 acres of reforestation equivalent. So those are some of the ways that we look at that. So in working in sustainable energy environments, we feel like that we're being good citizens of Louisville, Jefferson County, Kentucky, United States, and the world. And so it's really a pleasure for us when we get a new job, there's a celebration. And Greg, I think you mentioned the young kids. When we do a school job, it's very interesting because the school kids get involved with the job. And they end up having projects associated with our project, as well as we put up visible displays, and they see what's happening with the environment. So we're trying to add to that enthusiasm in that way. So one thing that I would like to do, and I guess I can do this now rather than at the end, I'd like to thank Mayor Fisher for coming today. And in recognition of you and thanking you for not only all the things you do for the city, but you're stressing compassion, stressing volunteerism, and stressing kids. So we're going to make a $1,000 donation to Metro United Way, and that will go toward True Up and the True Up kids. So.
Well, let's not run off. I need both of you gentlemen, Frank Harshaw and Mr. Mayor up here. Now we're going to present the actual physical manifestation of this, the plaque, and I'm going to invite Mayor Fisher to present that.
Okay, a lot of progress made here. Congratulations.
And thank all of you for the help to make it possible.
And of course, that's the recognition from the U.S. Green Building Council, and I believe, Greg, you've got a presentation here from from the governor, pardon me, as well.
Yes. There you are. This is a certificate from the governor. I'll just read it briefly. It's Harshaw, Trane, Louisville is recognized as a LEED Silver project, achieving the U.S. Green Building Council Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design certification means that your building has met the highest green building and performance measures. LEED certification nationally distinguishes your building as a facility that is environmentally responsible and is a healthy place to work. This level of excellence reflects favorably on your leadership to provide a better environment for future generations. Done at the Capitol in the city of Frankfort this 22nd day of April in the year of our Lord 2013 and in the 221st year of the Commonwealth. Signed, Stephen L. Bashir.
And you all have been so patient and so kind. You've been sitting inside on a beautiful day, and there is a gelato stand outside of this room as well. So I would invite everybody to adjourn outside. Doug Peabody with Hollenbach-Oakely is here as well, and he's going to meet with us outside for a few photos. But thank you very much for coming today.